Right, anyway, just shut up. Stop talking about it. Ask the Hosts, episode 24. I'm Joe.
I'm Amolith.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Andy.
Hello, chaps. It's almost like this is Linux Dev Time, but it's not quite, is it? Because no, this is Ask the Host. It's a very different show. The idea of this show is very simple. You send your questions to us to show@askthehost.com, and we answer them. The catch is they can be about anything except Linux and open source. Before we get going, just a quick thank you to people who support us with PayPal and Patreon. We really do appreciate that. If you want to join those people, you can go to askthehost.com/support. And remember that people who support us on Patreon get these episodes 2 weeks before everyone else. The first question then from VT. What is your least favorite fandom?
My first thought about this was like, what even is a fandom? I don't think I'm online enough to know what a fandom is.
It's a group of people who like some piece of content or group or book, TV show, whatever. Just a group of people who collectively like a thing and form a community around it.
See, I think I could probably name like fandoms that I do like, but my least favorite fandom, I would have a hard time with that. I don't know what all fandoms are out there.
I went through the A to Z list of fandoms on Wikipedia. There are two that I kind of like. The Browncoats, the Firefly fandom, that's a great show. The Ringers, or Tolkienites, fans of Middle-earth. But the one fandom I'm not a great fan of is Potterheads, because Harry Potter and its author, not great.
Yeah, I was tending towards basically stuff that's mostly populated by children are the worst, right? Because children are horrible and they have no sense of perspective. So if they're into a thing, they think that if you're not into it, you're terrible. Or if you're into the rival thing, it's even worse.
I was thinking kind of along the lines of there are groups that I like, musical groups, whatever. Like there's some K-pop that I really enjoy. However, I don't necessarily fit into the demographic of your typical K-pop or BTS Army style person. So I love the music, and you know what? I'm sure the BTS Army are amazing people, but I don't necessarily fit in.
This is the weird thing for me. I don't feel like I'm in any fandoms, even though I'm like a big fan of some things. Like I'm really into Buffy, but I'm like, I don't take that thing online and talk about it with other people. Maybe I should.
I once saw someone say in a forum somewhere, you're not allowed to criticize Buffy until you've watched all 7 seasons of it.
I've watched all 7 seasons of it, and I am very much allowed to criticize it.
I think for my least favorite fandom, I'd have to go with the Linux fandom. No, not really. I just don't like fandoms generally. Like people who are just too into watches or too into wine or too into a certain TV show. I don't know. Like I'm something of a Gibson fanboy, but I don't go on forums and talk to other people about it. I do watch some YouTube videos about the latest models and, cool old models and stuff like that. But I don't like actively engage in any other community than the Linux community, really. So I suppose like that is my favorite fandom, and my least favorite is all others.
I think we're just too old, Joe.
Maybe. Stefan asks, if money was not a factor, what is the most useless, frivolous thing you would like to buy?
That water jet thing that you can stand on in a lake and it makes you look like Superman flying through the water. That's what I would buy. 100%.
That's a good one.
I want those things that are like small jets on your wrists that let you fly. Very similar, but not water-based.
Can we buy something supplemental too, like maybe health insurance? Because I'm sure both Amolith and I are going to need this shortly.
I'd buy an island. Is that frivolous? I don't know.
If you would let us like jet ski through the air water around it, then I'm all for it.
But then it is quite useful because you could go there and do cool stuff like that. So does it really count as frivolous? Like,
it counts.
Isn't something frivolous just, a plastic toy that has no actual use?
No, we can't rule out things that have a reason why you want them.
Right. But I want, for example, have you seen those cool globes that spin on their own, just using the power of the sun or something? It's like encased in a glass ball and it just spins on its own, no batteries, no power, just using solar power somehow. And they're like 500 quid or something ridiculous.
I was about to say I'd get you one, but 500 quid.
I suppose it has some use, but then my £2 inflatable globe that is next to me now is just as useful.
But that also spins on its own if it's a bit windy.
Yeah.
I found this question really difficult because I'm like a horribly, annoyingly earnest person. So I immediately started Googling, like, how much money would it cost to get clean water for everyone? But then I reined myself in.
I was about to say, that's the opposite of frivolous.
That's very useful.
Exactly. So I reined myself in, and I eventually came up with something which I think I would really like, which is a personalized lifetime subscription to really good Lego models. So like every month or so, a brand new, like really big, complicated, cool Lego model arrives on my door for me to do.
Just for you, personalized for you.
I mean, it doesn't have to be. It just has to be something that I haven't done before. But
Oh, I see.
ideally, yeah.
That seems very achievable, Andy.
Really?
Yes. Like, how much is that going to be? Like a couple of £100 a month?
They're really expensive.
I mean, it's expensive, but, you do have a good job.
We're not talking like private island expensive.
Yeah, we're not talking like even jet ski expensive. We're talking a couple £100 a month.
I think it'd be more than a couple £100 a month, but it would be really nice.
All right, what if you did it once a year for yourself, even if it was £500? Got yourself a really cool Lego set.
Yeah, I'm not in charge of the finances in my house, so there is zero chance of that happening.
Okay.
I mean, I could start a Kickstarter if people like the idea.
Yeah, if you live stream yourself building them, maybe you could fund yourself.
The people would pay for it. The fandom would pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the reality is I'd buy a burst. So for people who don't know what that is, I would want a 59. So a 1959 Les Paul Standard, which has got like a flame top and a kind of sunburst finish on it. And they can cost anything from kind of $250,000 up to like $1 million plus, depending on who's owned it. That is like the ultimate Gibson guitar that you can buy. And there's just zero chance that I would ever, even if I was rich, I wouldn't do it because it's ridiculous. So that's what I would get if money was literally no object, I think.
I want to revise mine. Instead of the jet things on your wrists, I would get a Bazantar. Have any of you ever heard of that?
No?
Imagine a double bass and then add strings underneath the strings that are already there, many of them. I won't get into the details of how it works. It's a fuck ton of strings on a double bass, and the end result is as you're playing, the other strings vibrate sympathetically, somewhat like a sitar. So it's just this really cool effect. I would have no idea how to play it.
Is that how it got its name? Someone played it and somebody was like, that's really Bazantar.
I don't know how it was named.
Again, that seems achievable. Like, how much is one of them going to be? A couple of grand?
Probably at least tens, maybe in the 100.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's a lot of custom work on top of a nice bass.
Right.
And it's modifying a bass without compromising the bass itself.
Right.
Adding a whole bunch of strings adds a whole bunch of tension. You need to reinforce particular pieces, etc.
I just feel like I should have better answers for this question.
Yeah, you don't seem that ambitious. Like, if a cool Lego set every month is like the best thing you could imagine.
I've got everything I need. If someone paid off my mortgage and like fixed the fact that my house might flood and I have to move out one day, I'd basically be happy.
Okay, John asks, what's your favorite childhood TV show, film, or radio show, and why?
I watched all of The Land Before Time, on VHS even.
What's that?
It's been so long since I watched it, I would probably struggle to tell you like the story, but I can probably perfectly describe a scene. It is some Cretaceous era, I don't know, where dinosaurs were walking the earth, and the dinosaurs are cartoon and friendly and talk. The main character has a group of dinosaur friends, and they end up like walking a long way to do something. I don't remember. It's been so long.
Sounds riveting.
As a kid, it absolutely was. The dinosaurs were awesome. I think we had the most VHS tapes of that one thing, so I could start it and then watch it for a while, or switch it up the next day and watch a different Land Before Time thing.
For me, it was a show, actually it was two shows called Under the Umbrella Tree and Fraggle Rock. And the main thing I remember about this is my parents didn't have cable TV or anything. So one of my like dad's cousins or something, I don't actually remember the relationship, would send us VHS tapes of just recordings of Under the Umbrella Tree and Fraggle Rock. I don't know why that's the two children's shows that they picked, but that's what we got recordings of, and that's what I love to watch on repeat over and over. In fact, I don't really remember what the episodes were about. I vaguely remember they're all like kind of puppet style shows where there's some human and there's some puppets in the show as well. But those two stick out very, very, very fondly in my memory because I used to love getting these VHS tapes that I could watch some new episodes of this new show.
I remember getting a boxed set of Fraggle Rock DVDs.
Wasn't Fraggle Rock just a kind of poor man's rip-off of the Muppets?
Yes, very much so.
I think it was a lot better than Muppets, wasn't it?
I think I remember enjoying it more.
I don't know if 7-year-old Kevin was a connoisseur of the Muppets enough to make that judgment call. All I know is I loved Fraggle Rock and Under the Umbrella Tree.
I seem to recall Fraggle Rock being kind of sillier and less earnest and less kind of trying to make social points and stuff.
Yes.
It was just like dumb puppets just dancing around singing and stuff.
But they lived underground, and like that was super cool.
That was
You could
cool.
build
Yeah, that was
tunnels.
cool.
And the weird part about Under the Umbrella Tree that I really liked was one of the puppets had this like bed inside of a bookshelf, which I thought was the coolest thing in the world. Every bookshelf I saw, I wanted to put like pillows and a mattress inside there so that I could have a bed inside of a bookcase for some reason.
This question made me wonder whether I was sad as a child, because all I remember about children's TV when I was a child is finding it really irritating. And I just remember trying to struggle my way through Blue Peter. And then at least then there would be like Grange Hill, which wasn't quite as painful. And then it would be tea time.
We've got to describe Blue Peter to the Americans. It was like a sort of kids magazine type show. So just loads of different random segments where they'd maybe do some gardening in this bit and maybe they'd like go off and do some educational thing here. And then they'd have these makes, what they would call them, where they would get like what they called sticky back plastic, which like never existed anywhere else apart from in Blue Peter universe. Like I've never seen a shop sell sticky back plastic, but they would just make these random things. And one of the biggest makes that they ever did, like the most popular, was Tracy Island. So the Thunderbirds, I don't know if you're aware of that, Amolith, that's like way before your time. It was like, just imagine puppets with visible strings and like really badly done.
Sci-fi. It was like how you could do sci-fi on the cheap.
Yeah, in the like 1960s. But somehow it became popular again in the 90s maybe, or the late 80s, early 90s. And they had this really top-selling toy, which was their island base, essentially. And it just was so expensive and just sold out everywhere. So Blue Peter showed you how to make one out of like paper mache and stuff like that. And it was just this huge phenomenon. But yeah, it was a bit crap, that show, ultimately.
It was live. So like, I think if I was watching it as an adult, I would have felt the tension of the liveness and stuff. But as a kid, it's just like, oh, why is it so improving?
It's funny that you all went to TV shows because John put that first in the question, but the answer to this is quite clearly Back to the Future.
Okay.
I had that on VHS. I must have watched that like 200 times when I was a kid. I'd watch it almost every day for just years. And the answer as to why, because it was cool sci-fi and time travel. Like, I didn't really clock the kind of incestuous mum stuff back then, but like he traveled through time. It was cool in like the coolest looking car that is actually a piece of shit, it turns out, the DeLorean. And that was a joke in the movie that I didn't get. There's loads of jokes I didn't get, but it had this cool car. It could travel through time. He played guitar, and that's probably what got me into Gibsons, because he's got a semi-hollow Gibson that didn't actually exist in 1955, fun fact. But it was just so formative for me.
Yeah, that is a great film. The film that I watched over and over and over again was Wayne's World.
That really is aged badly, though. I watched that loads as a kid. Everything Mike Myers does ages badly. It's like super popular at the time, but then you go back to it and it's like Austin Powers is a bit cringe now. And Shrek I've just refused to watch because people call me that behind my back. So.
I watched Wayne's World again recently, and it's so sexist. It's really painful, but I loved it when I was a teenager, not like a young child.
Well, yeah, and like Bill and Ted was the kind of rival to that at the time, and I didn't really like Bill and Ted, but that has really stood the test of time way better than Wayne's World.
Yes. When I had kids, I found that there was a whole new world of kids' TV that I think is way better than what I had when I was a kid. The one that I like is called Pochio. There's loads that I like, but there's one called Pochio, which is about a little boy, like it's all 3D rendered, and the world is completely white except for the characters and a few objects. It's very, very simple, good for young kids. And why I like it is because there aren't baddies in it. Like, different characters have different things happen on different days, and sometimes they behave badly, and sometimes they don't. And it's just a much better model than a lot of these shows that have like a couple of horrible characters who are always the baddie and always basically get bullied by all the goodies. And yeah, Pochio is much better than that.
Oh, I love Pocoyo. That's a staple in our household. I live in a Spanish household, so Pocoyo is on almost 24/7 with our children.
Wow, I'm really surprised. I thought it had gone away.
Oh no, it is. Well, I don't know if they're still making new episodes, but my kids watch that on repeat, and it is very. I even get enjoyment out of it because the way that they do these characters, you can see emotion in them, even though the characters themselves really don't ever talk. And it's a very enjoyable little show.
It's excellent. And I remember viscerally the episode where Pochio loses his balloon and it's gone. Like, you don't get it back at the end of the episode. It's just gone. And my son was in floods of tears.
All right. Teg asks, what is your favorite house cleaning hack?
There are cleaning hacks?
Well, I feel bad about my one. So I want you lot to try and come up with some first before I tell you my ultimate one, which I also feel really bad about.
Is this like hacks that we get out of house cleaning with, or hacks that make it pass quicker?
Well, okay, you've spoilt my one. Be really bad at it. Like, try your best, but ultimately be bad at it. And then your significant other will say, don't do house cleaning. I will do that because you are shit. I really try, but I'm just bad at like sweeping and cleaning and stuff like that. Okay, but I'll give you a genuine one. Microfiber cloths. Yeah, there you go. They are the absolute best for any sort of cleaning.
Okay, my one is have a routine, have a schedule. This obviously didn't come from me because if it was left to me, I would just not do any cleaning of any kind. And that has been tested in multiple places where I lived. But I live with people who will not put up with that. And my wife makes us stick to a schedule where every week we clean stuff, even if we really can't be bothered. And by keeping on top of it like that and knowing what you need to do and like having the job that you're definitely going to do this week, then it gets done and it's not so bad.
Mine is that I shock myself into it or surprise myself. So if I know I need to clean something, whether it be dishes or I don't know, something around the house, usually I try to fake myself into doing it. So I'll do something else around it, something nearby it, until eventually just out of the blue, nowhere, I'll be like, I'm going to clean that right now. And if I do that enough, that's how I get like bigger projects done. If I put it on my schedule, I'm going to clean that on Tuesday, or I'll do that Thursday or whatever, then it just doesn't get done, or I'll always be busy with something else. For me, I have to like kind of surprise myself into accidentally doing it.
Yours is like the opposite of mine.
Mine's probably worse than both of those. Noticing when something needs cleaning is mostly left to me, and I usually end up leaving it until I can't help but notice it, and by that point it's so bad I have to just clean it right then because I'm so tired of it.
That's what I've heard. The hack is like you just kind of like leave things out and they magically disappear eventually. Right? But
if only. I'm the one that makes the things magically disappear around here.